So today I wanted to talk about 3 strategies that I believe are going to be some of the easiest things to climb with in Overwatch Competitive Season 9, specifically after the Brigitte patch. Now I am going to say that a lot of these strategies may not always be the best characters in the entire game, but I do believe that they work really well in competitive, and if you can happen to figure them out and play them well, you can actually carry and climb quite easily, just about whatever meta it is. With all that said though guys, let's get started. So D.va and Moira are both very strong right now. Maybe the strongest heroes in the entire game. And with the new patch coming out, instead of getting weaker, it seems like they might even get somewhat stronger. You know, Brigitte actually being pretty good at playing with tanks, and overall, them not really getting nerfed at all or being touched at all. And I think that just that in mind, I guess, could kind of help you figure out why this is such a good strategy. But other than just playing 2 of the best heroes in the game, I think that there is a lot of good synergy within these characters. And I think the most important thing to keep in mind is that both these characters can play D.va if you need to, they can play slow if you need to, they can play deathball if you need to, they can play just about anything if it's 100% needed. And as well, filling as support and tank means that you're going to be able to play these roles almost every single game and play these characters almost every single game, allowing for the good situation almost every single time. I think that's such a strong part about this comp, or about, I guess, these 2 heroes duoing together, is that they are almost always good picks to play, and together they work even better. Moira can just make so D.va never dies. That's essentially what you can do. You can throw out orbs, you can throw out healing, you can use your ultimate. D.va should stay alive for a huge amount of time, and of course all her teammates around her. And of course D.va, she's just an amazing pick that can deal damage, that can finish off kills with burst, that can play defensively and protect the Moira. It's pretty good. And I think another important thing to keep in mind about this comp is that there's no super big easy way to beat it. I mean, both the characters have mobility, have ways to stay alive. They both are pretty hard to just take down because of either HP or self-heal. I think that it's a great pick to go for. And while I guess it isn't like as innately, you know, magical as some of the other duo queue comps in the game, I think that there still is enough synergy where if you play these 2 characters together, you can honestly carry a game by yourself. And I guess the final thing I want to talk about is that you don't really need that great of DPS to win with this comp, because if you're playing Moira and your DPS are just okay, you can oftentimes let your D.va just play quite aggressively, get out a ton of damage, use the micro missiles, and since you're healing her up so much in the front line, she won't be dying nearly as much as she would be if you were playing some other supports, and you can kind of go on like that and make up for the damage. And as well, of course, Moira does have a decent amount of damage herself. Overall, I think it's a good combo, and if you want to pick up 2 characters that are great right now, that work together, Moira and D.va will really do that. In the second spot, I was really kind of considering putting in Dive, but in the end, I decided that Orisa and Junkrat is probably going to work out better than Dive in a lot of cases in the new meta. Now, of course, this does kind of depend on if Brigitte really can beat Dive like she's been promising to do, like a lot of pro players think she can do. If she can't beat Dive, then honestly, I think, you know, the Winston, Lucio, Genji combo, that might be a good way to keep playing. But as far as what it seems like right now, I think that Orisa and Junkrat are going to become one of the best ways to actually carry yourself up through the ranks, again, without way too much effort. I think Orisa and Junkrat have always been that just super classic comp that can deal a lot of damage, that has a decent amount of crowd control, can do some burst, and can stay alive, and is pretty easy to play. Honestly, as Orisa, you just have to kind of aim, mainly for the enemy tanks, get out some damage, put out some walls, and know when to protect yourself with your shift. And as Junkrat, you can spam around corners, spam around objectives, create choke points that the enemy can't get through, or if you get dived on, just deal a huge amount of damage. We already know a lot about both these characters, obviously. I think the thing that's just so great about these characters as well, though, other than them just being good and dealing damage and being good for so long, is the fact that they really, again, similarly to the first comp, kind of have trouble being beaten in competitive solo queue. Now, if you're playing full dive, let's say, the enemy team's playing full dive, sure, these guys can kind of have a problem. They have a D.va, a Winston, all that. They jump on you, they kill you. That can be kind of hard. However, in most games of competitive, I don't think that that will really happen. The enemy team won't even switch to dive. And if they do, I think a lot of the times people aren't coordinated enough to actually get the kills with dive against this comp. Orisa and Junkrat do so much damage that they really have to be dived on immediately and killed immediately, and a lot of the times people can't do that. I think the biggest example is that, you know, the enemy team has a Winston, Junkrat just has to put a trap right underneath himself, wait for the Winston to jump on him. The Winston's probably going to be by himself because everyone else is taking way too long to get up there. There we go. All you have to have is the Orisa shoot at him, the Junkrat shoot at him. You can probably kill the Winston before his team gets there, and there you go, profit from that. I think that just the simplicity of this comp does show wonders and does make it a good thing to pick up. And I guess the number one best thing about this is that you don't really have to have way too much time on either of these characters to start to play them. Of course, the more time you have on them, the better you will get. And if you look at the top 500 Junkrats compared to the very bottom level, you can see a huge amount of difference. But even with that in mind, Junkrat and Orisa both are pretty easy characters to pick up, pretty hard characters to play versus, and as far as it seems like right now, they aren't really gonna get any nerfs in the near future, as they got some nerfs, Mercy meta went away, and they're just kind of left as some of the best heroes in the game. They've been that way for a while. So either way, I think they're a good pickup, and if you want to play just a easier spam comp, this can be good. And you can even play it with some characters that are diving in on the backline, flanking around the enemy team. Doesn't matter way too much, as long as you have that good synergy with Orisa and Junkrat, you can oftentimes win a game by that alone. So I guess I should kind of mention right here that this list is really in no particular order, and that, you know, whatever works for you is the most important thing. But I think one comp that I'm really excited to try out and think on paper has worked really well, and in pub matches has worked really well, and in all my practice has worked very well, is Brigitte and Reinhardt. And these characters, when you look at them together, they seem to be like an extremely good way to climb through the ladder. Maybe not carry every single game super quickly, but definitely climb in the long run. I think that the power with this comp is that it is such a stable team comp that is so easy to play. When you have a Brigitte and a Reinhardt together, your teammates pretty much will essentially know all we have to do is walk forward with the shield and start whacking stuff. Start brawling, start getting kills. And that, I think, is a good place to start, because you can have just about any DPS. Of course, some are preferable, but you can play with most of them. You can have any other main healer, and from there, you just have to start brawling. Now, of course, I do know that in some situations, the enemy team might pick some hard counters to this, and there might be some situations where it's kind of difficult to pull it off. But I think in most cases, against the average solo queue experience, it should be a good enough comp that you can pick up in most situations, similarly to D.va and Moira. Now, as far as exact synergies, I think these characters are, again, just kind of made for each other. I mean, they both find the front line, they both hold up shields, and Brigitte really just kind of enables Reinhardt to do more, and kind of the other way around as well. With Brigitte, she has the stun, and I think that's the most important part about her with Reinhardt. If you're playing, you know, your Reinhardt versus the enemy Reinhardt, obviously you can stun, you can ult the enemies with the Rein ult, and get a ton of kills. But even if that isn't the situation, even if we're just versus other tanks, you can really help your Reinhardt as well. Oftentimes you'll see somebody like a Roadhog or an Orisa or Zarya or something that just walks straight up past your Reinhardt shield and starts killing him. He has to drop the shield and start whacking. Well, as this character, you can protect him, you can peel for him, you can send them back, and then you can re-engage later. And I think that is a really great thing about her. She can set up a lot of plays for the Reinhardt, while Reinhardt is either just holding back, holding the shield, protecting his team, or going in with the Brigitte. I don't think you can really forget that either, because she can put down the heal or put down the armor or whatever on the Reinhardt. He can walk up, he can start swinging, and if the enemies don't have good target prioritization, he can just kind of maul through the enemies. And as well, if Brigitte starts to do her combo, as well as Reinhardt hitting a hit and then his E, you can kill just about anything with just these two characters. And I guess something else I should mention right here about them is that you can kind of win a team fight just by having a good Brigitte and having a good Reinhardt. Because all you have to do is ult a little early as Brigitte, get all of your shield up, and then engage, stop the enemy tank from blocking your own Reinhardt ult, get a nice fat Rein ult, get some kills, go in and win that fight. And that, I think, will be a thing that we see showing up quite often with these two characters, especially in the beginning when people don't really know how to counteract them. I guess one of the final things I like about this comp is that while it does lose a decent amount to spam, it does really great against dive. It does really good against even quad tank. You can have enough healing while doing enough damage that you can kind of deal with the tanks, and against dive, Brigitte can just stop them, which Reinhardt really can't do way too much by himself. I think in the end, these two characters are good to play together, And while I guess we're going to kind of have to see if in the long run they do actually climb together, in my opinion, I think they're going to be a really good combo when she finally comes out in about a month. But anyways, as always, guys, these have just been my own personal opinions about what I think are going to be some of the best strategies to climb without having to put in thousands upon thousands of hours in the Brigitte patch in Season 9. And if you have your own ideas, make sure to leave that down in the comment section down below, what you personally feel like is going to be good there in the new seasonal update. I guess we should call it that. Anyways, as always, guys, thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, hit the subscribe button to see more videos like this in the future. And as always, guys, thank you all for watching, and have a wonderful day.